So what can be said about this game that hasn't already been vastly covered by the dark corners of the internet? Well, not much. Destiny 2 is a weird game for me to try and review without bias, as I pumped almost 500 hours into the first game, so I'll try and make this review as unbiased as possible, but no promises. Also note that I will be covering the PC version, and there is a major spoiler warning. Let's just start off with what the game gets right. The graphics in this game look fantastic, especially on PC. Hopping around the EDZ in 60 FPS looks amazing, and it's how the game is truly meant to be played. Granted, there still are some muddy textures and other places that don't look all that great. This can be excused with how open the worlds are. Destiny has always had great gunplay, and it was one of the reasons that people kept playing. Destiny 2 is no exception, especially in PvP. No longer are you getting bullshitted with one-shot sticky grenades, or instantly melted by a high rate of fire auto rifle. Every character and every class, no matter what guns they're using, can fight against everyone. If you're not winning your duels, it's not down to your weapon, it's down to your aim, your position, etc. Destiny 2 introduced 3 new subclasses and 3 new class abilities to go along with it. However, I wish they would have introduced a new class entirely, at least. If we constantly have to play as a hunter, titan, or warlock, that's going to get boring. Maybe add in a new subclass that controls technology with a class ability that can build turrets or something along those lines. But the new subclasses and the way they're broken down offers up a bit more customization than you would have expected. Your class abilities can also be customized. Do you want a giant wall to block off enemies entirely, or do you want a smaller wall that allows you to instantly reload when you duck behind it? Do you want to heal allies, or do you want to boost damage? Destiny's music is fantastic, but in this game, it's just okay. Nothing memorable like the encounter with Oryx at the end of King's Fall. And to be fair, none of the encounters in this game, excluding Gaul, can really be counted as memorable. Even then, Gaul himself was far too easy. You know what? Done with the pros. Segueing right into the cons. If you want to compare the story from vanilla Destiny 1, it is leagues better, no doubt. If you want to compare it to other games of its type like World War II, World of Warcraft, and even Halo to an extent, it doesn't stack up. Even a little bit. You need a heavy reliance on what you know from the first game, which isn't even that much in order to slightly understand what the hell you're doing. What are the Fallen? Where did they come from? What are the Vex? Why can they somehow control time? Why do they hate each other? None of this is even slightly mentioned in-game. The only slightly helpful thing, lore-wise, is the Grimoire, but guess what? That's still not in the game. In fact, I think they removed it entirely, because it's so fucking hard to find. The story mostly follows your endeavors to get the tower back from the Red Legion and their leader Gaul, who seeks to harness the light for himself. And on the surface, it sounds like an awesome premise, right? Never before have we had an enemy harness our own power to use against us. The Red Legion also have a super weapon pointed directly at our sun, so as soon as Gaul gets the light, they can destroy the entire solar system. And on top of all that, you lost your own light when Gaul took the Traveler for himself, even though that only lasted for one mission. But I get what they were trying to go for here. You have players that want to get to use these cool abilities right away. But then, why market the game in such a way that it's just for people who played the first game? If you really wanted to give off this feeling of dread and helplessness, then don't have us immediately get our powers back. The main reason people play your loot-based first-person shooter is to get loot. So someone please tell me why they took random rolls away from weapons? It gave some actual variety to each weapon, so even if 2 people of equal skill with the same weapon fought, there could still be some randomness with each fight. But now, the Crucible is dominated by Mida Multi-Tool because there's no weapon to counter it. If random rolls were back, there would be incentive to do the raid, or Crucible, or Iron Banner, or Trials, or even public events, because after you hit light level 260, public events, lost sectors, and adventures become completely useless. You can only level up from the raid and Crucible. But the raid sucks. It consists of 1 boss and 4 encounters, not to mention the loot system from Destiny 1 has been completely stripped out and replaced with the token system. Customization? Almost non-existent, except for single-use shaders that do have a fair amount of option to the game's credit, but most cool shaders or exotic ornaments are locked behind a microtransaction wall that doesn't deserve to be included. When you're charging upwards of $60 for your game, why do you demand more money for bullshit like these skins? This is Halo 5 all over again. You no longer get these through actual skill with the game, you get the cool armor and skins through throwing your money for a chance to get the cool skins and armor that everyone will be jealous of. Now, if they said that the microtransactions would go towards making the new expansions free, then I would be all for it. Completely harmless, and the people who want to buy it can. Even Halo 5 got that right. Instead, they're forced in and full of RNG, just like Halo 5 was 2 years ago. Everything the game gets right, it gets another thing wrong. For every great graphics choice, there's a terrible one. For every great story moment, it's overshadowed by a bad one. For every amazing gameplay choice and balancing decision, there's another one that's overpowered and breaks balance and immersion. For a game like this, it gets a 5 out of 10. It is average. If the story was better, the gameplay tuned up a bit more, then it would score highly with me. Most likely surpassing Destiny 1. And if you want to compare it to Destiny 1, then it is a great game, like an 8 out of 10. But when you compare it to the games that came out earlier of the same genre, then it just doesn't stack up. And there is a great game here, but it has too many flaws to be anything more than average. Is that going to stop me from playing it? Nope. In fact, I'm going to go play it right now. See you guys.